Jamielee. Welcome to Spark TV.
Hi.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. I'm so excited because I love how, networking and all of the things. We met in Perth at a social club community event, and two people who didn't know anyone at a networking event,
Right.
and now we're a podcast, so it's so good.
That's right.
Let's start out by just telling everybody who you are and what you do.
Hi, so I'm Jamielee, and I own a kids bakeware brand that focuses on bringing high quality, miniature-sized bakeware for kids to the market. Yeah, that's pretty much what I do.
I love it so much because we were just talking about this, that it's so different, right? Like, obviously, you see so many parents interacting with their kids, but they're doing it in the kitchen with full size stuff. So it's so genius to have miniature size things, which is so cute. But how did you even come up with the idea for miniature kids bakeware?
I think I intertwined both my passions. So I've always loved kids. Like, on the side of my jobs, I've always been a babysitter, nanny. I used to be, I am a qualified chef back home. That's what my full-time job was. So it's actually coming from my passion. And then when I was doing it with baking with the kids in the kitchen, this is previous to me having my son, I noticed that it was really awkward for them to use these adult sized cooking utensils. And I was like, why don't I create miniature sized kids bakeware that fits within their hands, and it makes it easier for them to use in the kitchen? Because it's such an important life skill for children to have. Yeah, so that's where it came up, and I decided to just go for it. So I sort of intertwined both of my passions together.
I love it. It's so cool. And it's interesting because I remember once my sister saying to me, and this is when we're adults, not when we're kids, but she's like, how do you know how to cook everything? And I'm like, I don't know. But I'm like, it is such an important life skill. We need to be able to feed ourselves.
Yeah. And it's so creative as well. It is. And I think it's so important for kids to independently do it in the kitchen as well. Obviously you're there to guide them, but then let them be creative by themselves and explore. And I know sometimes when they're at a young age, it's frustrating, but it's so important for them to learn this, especially from a young age. And you're creating memories with them in the kitchen as well. There's so many reasons behind why I started it, all while trying to keep it all sustainable as well, because that is important to me, because I try to use that in my own personal life as well. Yeah.
That's so cool. I love it. And what was the process like? I mean, obviously you were a chef, you had this idea, you worked with kids, you then had your own son. How did it go from idea to actually having these amazing bakeware? How did that process look for you?
A lot of challenges.
Yeah. I love it. Which always.
Yeah, which I think any product-based business, or any business, you have challenges, but in particular when you're, getting these samples done and talking to your manufacturers, it is a process, a lot of back and forth, and sometimes, well, they're pretty good with language, but I think there's sometimes a barrier where they don't quite understand what you're saying and the idea you're trying to bring to life. So that was a challenge. I think you just got to go for it, and that's what I done. Not having any fear, or not trying to let your doubt and fear get in the way, because I think that's really what stops a lot of people from bringing their passion and ideas to life. Like I said, there was a lot of challenges, but we got there.
Oh, that's so true. And I mean, it is interesting, being a product-based business versus, a lot of people are in service-based industries where, you can just whip up a website and start selling services.
Yeah,
easy.
It is. My partner, he has service-based, obviously, businesses too. And he literally said that he started up within a couple of months. Yeah. And mine took over a year to start up. It's such a complete different process. It's quite straightforward for them at the start.
Yeah, it's so true. Because I mean, even if you think about products just getting samples, it's all just time that you just have to wait and go look at it. No, that's not what I meant. Try again.
Yeah. Some of my samples were a complete. Yeah. But that's what we learn from it. I believe all this happens in life. We learn from these experiences.
I love that. And it's so true, because that's like the whole business journey. I mean, even after you get the samples right, there's so many other things that you have to learn in business to then start selling, and customer service and shipping problems. And there's
so
always going to
many
be
different
challenges.
areas. Yeah, there is. And I think everyone would be doing business if it was easy. And that's why it's hard. And you've got to be quite resilient to be in business.
Yeah. Oh my God, exactly. And now I think so it took about a year to manufacture and get it all right. And then you said, I think when we met, you were just launching at that point. Is that right?
Yes, I did. And it was a bit delayed again. There was so many delays in launch, but even when I seen you, like even getting it when it was in Freoport to our where I'm holding all the products in there. And like, because I had obviously lots of pre-orders as well, and people were so understanding. It was like a couple of days late, but even that was like an absolute nightmare. But it's okay, like we got there, and like I said, you learn from these experiences. So I literally launched, I think it was like a week after I seen you.
Wow.
And it was all go.
And what was that process like? What did you learn in the launch period?
A lot of patience.
Excellent.
What else did I learn? Patience. Yeah, to be like very solution based. Like you have to come up with solutions quickly when like problems arise. You can't just leave them sitting there. Like sometimes I am a bit of a procrastinator and I leave things to the side if I dread it.
Yeah, same.
Like you can't leave that in business. You have to keep on top of it. So when there was like issues arising in that launch period, I had to be on it. Like I had to provide a solution, get it sorted so we were running smoothly.
Yeah, it's so true. And I think, again, that is just every step of the way in business, isn't it? Just finding solutions to problems.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's really interesting. And what about life before business? So you mentioned you were a qualified chef. What was your career path? Like, what was, I'm always interested in kind of people's journey before they got to business. Like, were there any?
I'll just try to do it briefly because sometimes I'm not so great at cutting it out.
Go for it.
So pretty much I was a chef in New Zealand. I was a chef in a winery. I was a commis chef, so I was the third chef in charge. And then like I sort of got no more opportunities to go up higher in what I do. And I'm always like, I love learning and I get bored of my job if I'm not given opportunities to learn more. So then I went to a cafe and I was the head chef there. And love that. And I still love it. I love being a chef. Like it's just creating food. And then same thing, I couldn't really go into a higher job role there. And I was like, why don't I've always wanted to go overseas and help in some way at some point in my life. So I decided I'm very spontaneous. I decided to go to Thailand and teach. Well, I'd done my teaching certificate over there and cultural course over there, and then taught in Thailand as an English teacher. So I've done that for a while.
Different.
I know, but I love kids as well, and I've always wanted to go overseas and do that. So I done that, and then my sister was living in Perth. Well, she still is here now, and she's like, "What are you going to do next?" And I was like, "I'm not ready to go home yet." I was like, "Oh, well, I'll stop over in Perth and then go to Europe and travel there and be a nanny or something random over there." And then I came here, but then I met my partner.
Man, they always throw a spanner in the works, don't they?
Always, and it's unexpected. 5.5 years later, so we're here, and I've got my son. And I think having Bo, I went through a really tough time with pregnancy and post-pregnancy as well. And I ended up having spinal surgery, and I wasn't able to, like if I was just normal, and I would have went back to being a chef after him. But I wasn't able to stand. I'm still not able to stand now for like longer than 8 hours and to be a chef, you need to be on your feet all the time. And I need to lie down and that kind of thing. So that's when obviously I was pondering on those ideas, and I had it written down in my like notes on my phone for ages. And that's when I was like, this is the perfect opportunity for me while I'm a stay-at-home mum. And I just felt like it was the right time. I think when you're ready to
Wow.
So
Isn't it interesting how, like, you know, you could absolutely look at that experience in your life and kind of fall apart? Like, you would be very warranted.
I did. I did
Yeah.
actually. I did fall apart.
Good.
Yeah.
That's part of the process.
Yeah, it is. And then you come back better than ever.
Yes,
Or you
absolutely.
hope. Yeah. No, yeah, I still like there's still struggles with that in my day-to-day life now. Like I'm
Yeah.
still navigating. Obviously, we don't have family here. It's all everyone's back in New Zealand except for my sister, but she has her own son and all that kind of thing.
Mm.
But like navigating life now, having a business compared to previously, like it is a challenge trying to, and I think that's my biggest challenge at the moment, like
Mm.
currently, is trying to, I know you're never going to have a perfect balance, but trying to have somewhat balance between like looking after your personal life and then you're being the mum of the family, you know, doing all that side of thing, and then being
Yeah.
a support partner for your partner in business, and then
Mm.
keeping your own business afloat, and that kind of, it is like that's what I'm trying to balance
Juggle.
at the moment. Yeah. And I knew, so when I started my business, like the first 6 months, sometimes you've got to sacrifice things short term, you know. So that's what I
Yeah.
had to do with my business to get my business properly up and running, and launch. In those first 6 months, I had sort of lost all my looking after myself, my exercise, which I knew was so important for my back, and
Mm.
not giving my son as much undivided attention, and my family, and giving my relationship that nurturing. Like, yes, it's not sustainable long term, but short term, I had to get that. I just had to do that in the short term to get my business up and running and for it to be able to be worth it. And yeah,
Yeah.
so, but now
I
I'm in the last month, I am getting back into, because it is so important to look after yourself if you have a
mm.
business. So I am getting back into looking after myself and that downtime, I suppose.
And it's interesting, isn't it? Because you're right. I think there are like seasons of your life where sometimes you do have to, I know we don't like the word hustle anymore, but hustle a little bit harder than you would like, and make those short-term sacrifices. But I love that it's swinging back around and you're able to take a little bit more time. Is there anything that you do right now to make sure you get time for yourself and your family and your partner? Have you got any tips for us, all of us who are not balancing things well?
I think so. Do you know one thing that I think is really important before starting a business? I done a lot of, before I actually had my son, that year before I fell pregnant with him, I had the best year I'd ever had in my life. I was the healthiest, physically, mentally, all that sort of jazz. And I had done a lot of work within myself. And I think if I hadn't done that, I wouldn't be where I am today. And I think it helps you build a lot of resilience and you come into situations where you could normally be really stressed, and react to situations differently.
Yes.
So coming into it more with mindful, sort of more mindfully and calm. And saying that, I have not been like that. Obviously, I've tried to, but I haven't, with a few times, which we're only human.
Yeah, totally.
But I do find, so I do yoga, and I've literally just started getting back into it now. And that yoga is sort of my yin. It calms me. Those mindful practices of meditation and all that type of thing really keeps me grounded.
Yeah, I'm such a big fan of yoga. I really struggle to meditate. So because I'm
Although
just like,
everyone does it to start.
yeah. But yoga, I feel like it tricks you into meditating because you're kind of still moving around, and like you find yourself in this pose where you're like trying to hold on, but it's like a trickery of meditation. That's why I like yoga.
Yeah. So I that's what I've started to get back into now, is my yoga and meditation and manifestation. Like, I truly think manifestation is so powerful. I know there's people out there that probably just think it's
Too
bull.
woo-woo. Yeah.
Yeah. But honestly, I think it is so powerful. Obviously, you have to take action afterwards.
Yeah.
But it is powerful. There has been times in my life in the last few years, about 4 years, that I have manifested it into fruition, like it's come to life.
Wow.
Um,
What is your manifestation practice look like? What do you do?
So I sort of combine my yoga and my affirmations. So I do affirmations as well, and my meditation. Did I just say that? Meditation and manifestation all together. But generally I do it in the shower because I feel showers are quite cleansing.
Oh, yeah.
And I've got no distractions around me. It's just me in the shower. And I just close my eyes and I just envision like what I desire in life, or what I desire in life right at that moment. And because your brain doesn't only, when you tell your brain these things, it doesn't know any different. If you keep telling your brain you're this or that, it's going to believe it. So it literally doesn't know any different. So yeah, that's what I do. It's just I envision what I desire and I just keep doing that. And then, like I said, you've got to take action on it as well, because you can't just stand there and manifest and expect it to just be there within the click
I
of
would like to be a billionaire. Thank you. I am a billionaire. Excellent. Now
you've got lots of money
and do nothing.
No, but I've heard, like, I've listened to quite a few podcasts about it as well, and it's nice to hear a lot of other people, like people as well that have businesses that are on a larger scale than mine, like much larger, that they do a lot of self-development and inner work. I don't know if you know of Erin that used to own Triangle.
Erin Deering.
Yes.
Something.
I absolutely love listening to her, and she is one of those people. Like, she's done really well in life, but she said, like, she has done a lot of inner work, but she's actually done it post Triangle. So once she sold it.
Well, it's interesting because I think with her as well, like, Triangle was massive and it actually became really overwhelming for her. And I think she felt like she lost a lot of herself, which is, I think, why she got into the inner work, the manifestation. All that. I was like, but it's so interesting, right? Like, how we can learn from other women in business who have gone through the challenges before, and we can go, okay, maybe we need to do that step before, as we're going through business. I love the shower idea though. So I do mine while I'm trying to fall asleep. I do it, and that's my, like, I visualize the dream life and all that kind of stuff. But I love the idea of when you're in the shower. That's such a, like, you're so relaxed. It's such a beautiful state to be in, which I think helps manifestation.
And I do breathing with it as well. And actually, before I start doing that in the shower, because I feel like water is cleansing, like it's quite cleansing, I envision breathing in and then breathing out all the, like, if I feel like I'm holding any stagnant energy in my body or any, like, fears or doubt, and just envisioning that, like, breathing that out and letting it go. And then when I breathe in, inhale, like, whatever I know that sounds crazy, but whatever.
I love that.
So, like, letting my body go, exhaling all the negative energy out of my body and inhaling all the positive.
Oh my God, that's so good. I love it. No, I mean, it's really important though, because it's, I think we've said that a few times on this podcast episode, that business is really hard, whether you are starting out, whether you are launching, whether you're scaling, like, it's always hard. There's always a challenge. There's always something to think about. So, and if you get wrapped up, it's so easy to get overwhelmed. So actually having a self-care practice, whether that's manifestation or whether it's the yoga or whether it's something that actually grounds you and helps you manage the day-to-day, I agree, is just so important.
It's interesting. I just want to quickly say this because I just thought of it then. So last week on Sunday, I was in the shower and I'd done my routine that I'd done. And for some reason, I do it on Sundays normally. And I literally, what I wanted for the week, or what I desired for the week, was sales, support, and solutions.
Oof, love it.
Sales, I literally got a wholesale order in the day after. I had all these sales come through.
Wow.
I had 2 people that I felt very supportive by, that, like, just one was completely running someone else in a product business, and there was another one as well. And then I had these solutions that I was providing for these issues that I was having. And I said to my partner, it just seems so like it's either because I did manifest that, or that it was just happened to be like a coincidence that it happened on the week that I did.
Oh my God. I love it though. Like, I mean, if there is a hack to being more successful in business and it's manifestation, let's do it. Like, why not?
Exactly. And like I said, you're going to take action as well. And I think when you focus your energy into certain places, it's going to work. So like,
Mm.
you know, I had said before, I had to sacrifice short-term other things in my life because I had to put my energy into this business to get it up and running.
Yeah.
You know, so I believe that wherever you focus your energy into and put the energy into, it's going to, like your relationship or
Yeah.
your kid
Yeah.
or whatever it is.
That's so true. Now you mentioned wholesale orders. So is that kind of a new part of the business? Are you actively like
Oh,
seeking wholesale, or what's your plan and how are you
my
going about it? I know some people who in product-based businesses might be going, how did you do that?
I honestly, I just winged it. I had 3 people approach me at the start, like not long after I had launched, and I went, "Oh my goodness," because I was going to eventually wholesale, but not like sort of after 6 months into business, sort of where I'd sort of found my feet and I knew what I was doing and how I was working my business. But I can't like say no to these opportunities. So my
Yeah.
first actually wholesaler was the one that did reach out, and she's actually in Perth. So I've got 3 on board now, and I've still got another 3 that are wanting to order in end of June, start of July as well. But I did just wing it, and I think it's really important to ask questions as well. If you don't know,
Mm.
ask people, and don't be afraid to ask them.
Mm.
Because I did used to have that little thing in my head going, it's embarrassing not knowing the answers to these questions. You should know, but I just sort of let that go and went, you know
Yeah,
what? It's ask questions. You're never going to
definitely.
know the answer if you don't ask.
Yes.
So she was actually one of them that actually did give me a few pointers, which was really kind of her. And
Mm.
like I said, there was a lot of trial and errors and challenges in that as well, because I was winging it and I didn't have probably as much knowledge as some people do. But it's something's working.
Yeah, I love that though, because you're so right. Like, don't let not knowing all the answers hold you back from an opportunity. And I'm always surprised. Like, I know I'm the same. I always go, oh my God, I'm supposed to know everything. Like, and I feel bad for not knowing everything and asking questions and all those things. But I'm always surprised when I do ask someone a question, how helpful they are. They're like, oh, and they'll just rattle off the thing. I'm like, oh yeah, okay, I get it. Like,
Yeah.
and they
They're
don't
happy
think
to.
any, they're so
Yeah.
happy to, and they don't
Yeah.
think anything less of you.
Yeah.
It's literally in your own
It,
head that
it,
we have
it
these
is.
thoughts.
It
Yeah.
is. It's literally your own thoughts in your own head that's getting in the way. And they're more than
Mm.
happy to help most of the time.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
so true.
I
Oh
know
my God,
it's
I love it. No, it is. It's just so funny because it's one of
yeah.
those things that we all do to ourselves. Like
And
we
I think it's
do.
partly our ego as well. We need to like
Yeah,
step out of our ego and just do it. Just ask the
absolutely.
questions. Yeah.
I love it. No, that's so true. And what's next for you? What's coming up?
Oh, the unknown.
I know that we can be sure of. Yes.
um, there is a few things. So like there's so many, I just have ideas coming in all the time of all the products I'd like to bring out. But obviously I can't bring them out all at once. So it's one thing at a time. And like my partner said, just slow down one thing at a time. And I'm like, I know you're right, but I just want to bring everything because I'm so excited.
Yeah.
So there will be hopefully some new products coming out at the end of the year, especially in our sprinkles muffin pan range, because that has been like a bit of a, I suppose, game changer in the muffin pan industry.
Yes.
Um,
Because it
Parents are
combines
loving
the
me more
hard
than
tin and the silicon, doesn't it? Is
yeah.
that
So it's like combining the old traditional stainless steel with the modern day silicon. So it's not flimsy, it's sturdy, but it's still non-stick and easy to pop out.
so good?
So we will be expanding in that range in particular and a few other things. Like I said, I still haven't figured out exactly what I'm going to bring out this year because there's so many of them that I do want to bring out. And then just wholesaling, I need to get into more paid marketing as well because I haven't actually, mine's just been organic reach so far. I literally have
Wow.
not done any, which I know it's time to, I think that's one of the things that I've been putting aside because I don't know how to do it, but that's one way is learning. So I'm actually going to start doing that this week. And
Cool.
then, and then I'd like to ideally go to a few larger events as well. I think they're done for the year because they're normally at the start. So hopefully the start of next year, go to a few of those big expos that are in Melbourne and Brisbane. But yeah, there is one other thing that I'd love to bring out this year, but I think it's going to be next year, and that is to do with recipes.
Oh, cool.
I'm finding it really hard at the moment with sharing my like baking and cooking, because I don't want to give everyone my recipes, because people can find that before I have released my cookbook.
Yeah.
So I've just got to be like careful with that. So that is one thing, because people really want my recipes. I'm like, I can't give them to you. I'm sorry.
But you will be able to buy my cookbook. Join my waiting list.
Exactly. And that will be a combination of recipes, easy step-by-step recipes to do with your kids, and then also recipes for mums as well, or dads, or whoever's using the book. So it will have a combination. So that's another sort of project, and that's literally been in the works for like 7 years.
Wow.
And I'm nowhere near finished yet.
Oh my gosh.
I think I just slowly add to it as the years go, and I create the recipe, and it takes time. Like everything does take time. Yeah. If you want to do it properly, it takes time. Yeah. So that's pretty much what the future holds for me, as I know.
So good. I love it. I love it. And look, we could talk all day, but let's leave the Spark community with one last piece of advice.
Okay.
So as you reflect on your time in business, what is one piece of advice that's kind of been, you know, a great guiding force for you that you would give to another woman in business or another female founder who's currently on their journey?
One thing I would say is do the inner work on yourself. If you can possibly do that before you start business, because it honestly, it changes your perspective, the way you cope, your coping mechanisms, like the way you cope in situations, the way you react, all that sort of thing. And I know this is probably something that everyone else says, but just go for it. Like if you have a passion and you really want to start a business, you'll find a way. If you really want to do it, you'll do it, and just go for it. Don't let your doubt or fear get in the way. And I'm assuming there's probably a lot of people out there that have said the same thing, but it's so true.
Yeah.
And it's worth it. It is absolutely worth it. Even though there's so many curveballs that come along the way, you figure it out. You do. And if it's a passion, you love it. It weighs it up. It weighs up.
It's so true. It balances out. The challenges are balanced by the fact that you're so into what you're doing.
Yeah.
Incredible. Jamielee, thank you so much for sharing your business journey with the Spark community. You are absolutely incredible and such an honor to chat to you.
Thank you so much.